gosh, have I done anything that's going to keep me from going to heaven? Like, what do I need to pray for? God, forgive me for the things I probably haven't even done yet. I have this fear, and it would just, but then, like, it got even worse. How many of y'all remember Y2K? When the year 2000, for those of you younger folks, back in 2000, when it flipped over to the new, I guess, millennium or century or whatever, everyone was completely freaked out that when it flipped over to 2000, the world was going to end. I was convinced of it. So we're in this watch service one night, right there as it's going into the new year, and my dad goes and cuts the power out just as it turns midnight. I'm like, that's it. I got left behind. It's over with. I thought it had really happened. What a jerk. No, I'm just kidding. No, but we still, if we're honest, we hear that phrase, Jesus is coming back, and for some of us, it does well up those emotions of fear, like, and questions like, am I ready? And that's okay. It's good to have those. But what it might also mean, this passage of Scripture, is the end is near, is it might be just reminding us that life is precious and life is short. My question when I started thinking about that is, like, what do I want out of my life? What's on my list? Who do I want to see? Where do I want to go? What are the things that I want to do? What do I hope for? What do I want to do with my life? What kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? Will they talk about me in a good way? Will they say I was a good man? Will they say I loved God? Will they say I loved my family? But we rarely ever think about how short and fragile life is until something happens to us that forces us to think about it. And about 5 years ago, that happened to me. I was on a date with my wife, and I had this crazy headache come along and out of nowhere. And it was a really sharp headache. Never had a headache like that before. And then within a matter of minutes, my entire left side had become paralyzed. I was completely immobile. We rushed to Murray Regional. I was there overnight, and they did every test known to man, CT scans, CAT scans, put me through the ringer. And I was completely scared, to say the least. So long story short, they do all these tests to find out that, well, the next morning the doctor tells me, you know what, we really don't know what's going on. They had ruled out it was not a stroke. They ruled out it was not a heart attack. So he set me up an appointment to go meet with a neurologist a few days later. That happened on a Monday. By Thursday, I walked into the neurologist's office under my own power, completely unassisted, and I got to experience a miracle firsthand. And for months before that, I've been praying, God, I just want to know your realness deeper. I just want to experience something miraculous. Let me see a miracle with my very eyes. You know, we've seen the stuff on the videos online that just, you know, is it real? Or some people that just, it's an all-out hoax, you know. But God, I want to see a miracle with my own eyes. You don't have to. Little did I know that the miracle that I would get to experience would be firsthand in my life. Some of y'all know a few months ago that my father-in-law passed away. And one of his favorite verses was, life is but a vapor. You know, we're lucky if we get 70 to 80, 90 years here to make a difference, to love our families and to love the Lord, love our friends, make a difference, leave a lasting impact. Life is so short. See, Peter, in this scripture, when he says the end is near, he's trying to express urgency. Here's why. Because he understands something about people. He understands that as people, our passion leaks. Our passion will start to leak over time. The things that we were in love about and enthusiastic about and that we could get excited about, over time, our passion leaks. And here's why. It's because we are addicted to distractions. We are the most distracted generation in history. That's the reason why in about 7 minutes into this message, there's going to be a lot of people that check their phones. They send a text to the person sitting right next to them like, what are we doing for lunch today? Like, we're the most distracted generation in history. I found this new term that it just caught my attention. It's called our mental diet. What are we consuming mentally? Like the things that we fill our mind with. I just want to unpack a few of those that I know many of us, we fill our minds with, we fill our time with. Imagine social media. If social media, furthermore, if technology closed up shop every day at 6 p.m., you could no longer scroll your Instagram feed. You could never look and see who posted something on their Facebook. You could no longer watch YouTube videos. You could no longer snap your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Young people, where y'all at? Like, if it just shut down at 6 o'clock, like, what would happen? I think my wife would really enjoy it. I think that she would get to experience dinner without cell phones at the table, and she would get to have real conversation. She's great about this. Like, she'll tell us, put your cell phone away or I'll break your hand. Like, she's amazing about really pulling our family together. She gets it better than I do. So what would happen, though? It would mean that we would have to have real conversations, y'all. It would mean that we get to experience true friendship. We get to be actually present with the people that we care and love, right? We would speak to our families about stuff that matters. Instead, what do? We spend our time scrolling through the feeds and the pictures and looking at everyone else's highlight reels and comparing our behind-the-scenes disaster to everyone else's highlight reels. And it makes us depressed. It makes us wish that we had all the things that we don't have. If you're taking notes, I would love for you to jot this down. What that does is it puts us in a vicious cycle of comparison. And add this to it. Social media has made perfect look so achievable that real is something that people no longer desire. I'm going to repeat that. Social media has made perfect look so achievable that real is something that that we don't even desire anymore. Peter goes on to say, therefore be of sober mind. Again, I think he understood people. Be of sober mind. Now, of course, that can mean stay away from drugs and alcohol. It definitely means that. It means don't overindulge in the things of this world that will inebriate you. But I think it also means this. I think he also means that we are not to get drunk on those distractions. What are some of those distractions? Fear, worry, greed, hate, gossip, doubt. Look to your neighbor and say, the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. We have to remember who we are, why we're here, what we're here for. We got to remember who we belong to. We have to remember that we are here to love God and to love people. It's our mission, to love God and to love people. So, three things that Peter says in this text for us to do in the end times, because again, it's urgent. We don't know. We don't know if we have tomorrow. The word says no man knows the day or the hour. So we don't know when he's coming back. I don't say that to instill fear. I say it really with a sense of expectation and excitement. Y'all, we get to go home. But here's what he says. He says, do three things in the last days. He says, pray more. He says, therefore, be alert and of sober mind that you may pray. I want to share something with you. Pew Research says that the average Christian spends less than 7 hours a year in prayer. 7 hours a year in prayer. Less than 7. What that breaks out, that's 45 seconds or so per day. And you may be asking yourself, but let's think about it for a second. We take a 5-second prayer right before our meal. We take a 10-second prayer right before bed. When you start to add it up, they might be onto something. He says, pray more. The next thing he says is love deeper. Above all, love each other deeply because love covers a multitude of sins. I had a friend share with me that sin, virtually all sin, is rooted in selfishness. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. All sin is rooted in selfishness. But here's what Peter says. He says, love deeper. He says, above all, Love each other deeply because love covers a multitude of sins. When you love those around you and you care about them and you serve them and you want to put their needs in front of yours, if you will love them that deeply, it'll cover the times that you mess up. But you won't mess up that often. If you're putting people in front of you, you'll rarely